All right. Hi, I'm Chris Oster, and I am the author of Return to Enchantment. Here is my book. It's your guide to creating a more magical livelihood. So what I do is I work with archetypes in mythology and magical things that I feel drawn um, to to help other entrepreneurs, create a business that is really more about them, that shines through with their personality, that um, because so many of us are on this path where we're paving our own trail, and to have that confidence and that faith, it takes a lot of work. So I'm hoping that this book is a good entry into a new way for you to look at marketing and branding, and putting yourself out there in a way that's more healing, because we know statistically that more people will read our marketing stuff, that will read our posts and tweets and Facebooks and blog posts, than will actually end up buying stuff from us. Or they might look at our stuff for a year and then buy something from us. So the messaging that you use in your marketing is really important. It's as important as the product that you're getting them to buy, right? So this is our final chat, and it's been 7 weeks of a weekly half hour of us getting together. So today's chapter is chapter 5, is called Shining Your Light. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because well, first I'm going to read a myth to you, a story. And each chapter has a myth, and the archetypes have a resonance, right? So when you feel a resonance with a particular archetype, there's usually different stories and characters that you've probably been in love with since childhood. And so each chapter kind of has a theme. And like I said, this theme is about shining your light, about being witnessed, about stepping forward and not being in the background. So one of the myths that I think really illustrates this idea very well is the myth of Amaterasu. And she's a Japanese Shinto goddess who is very celebrated there. And she's a solar goddess. She's a sun goddess, which, I know a lot of people, think of moon goddess and sun god, but in this case, she is a goddess, and she's a goddess of the sun. So her shrine was first built in Ise in the 7th century AD, and it's rebuilt every 21 years in the same spot in exactly the same form. I thought that was pretty interesting. So this is the short version of her myth. Amaterasu was born of the primordial couple and is so bright that they place her in the sky as the sun. Amaterasu's brother, the god of war, goes on a destructive rampage where he desecrates her quarters, destroys it, and then leaves his excrement there. I mean, shits on all her stuff. It's awful. As she looks down at the havoc, horrified, her brother pierces her with a spindle shaft. So the metaphor of the spindle penetrating her, again, I think this is a representation of the violation of rape. So not only did he destroy her royal quarters and dishonor her, he also rapes her. So out of shame, disgust, and fear, Amaterasu retreats into a cave, and she hides out for a long time. Her absence makes the world dark and cold. It's funereal. It's a death world. To woo her out of her cave, 800 deities decorate a tree with jewels, ribbons, and mirrors, and place it at the mouth of the cave, along with a large copper mirror fashioned by the smith goddess. There is a shaman there named No Ozume, the goddess of jollity. who then performs a dance intended to restore the earth's fundamental energies. As the dance of the shaman grows more frenetic, she begins to undress and make jokes. In some myths, she has the body of an old wrinkled woman who jiggles around her deflated breasts and stretches open her crinkly old vagina. The gods begin to laugh so loudly at this dance that no Uzume does that Amaterasu comes out of the cave to see, what's going on here. She sees her own reflection in the copper mirror and is dazzled by her own radiance. When she sees her true self mirrored back to her, she's healed in some way, and she returns to the world and brings back the light, and of course banishes her brother. So, the symbolism here is, the shining your light. And we're, from childhood and other work experiences, life experiences, we are, we're shamed, we are violated, we are put down, we're all of these things that can happen to us when we decide to shine, when we decide to be seen in our fullest self. And so, in essence, I think the human condition is we're scared to shine, and many of us don't. You hide your light under a bushel, all of that stuff, because, you're afraid of the consequences. If I outshine somebody else, they're going to kill me, or they're going to put me down or something. And even though, somebody putting us down, somebody shaming us, somebody making fun of us doesn't, cannot actually kill us. Our defenses go up because it feels like they could. It's not, even though it's not based in reality, to our imagination, our minds, it feels like a real threat to us. So I think I really liked writing this chapter, and I thought it was really important to include it in this book, because the more I talk to entrepreneurs, the more I realize, and this is also within myself, how afraid we are to shine. And sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes we're celebrated. Sometimes everything's great. But every now and then there's a jealous person. There's somebody who wants to prove that they're better than us. All of these things are possibilities. So I also believe that we do need to have some protection. And I'm not talking about armor and shield kind of protection, because that's too heavy and it blocks us from love and being loved. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these ideas. And one thing, and you could ask this of yourself, but there's a question that Marie Forleo asked at a conference I was at where she spoke, and she said, let me see, the quote is really good. How would you behave if you were the best in the world at what you do? How would you behave if you're the best in the world at what you do? I think that's a really important question. And it's a really deep question, and something that, maybe you write it down or think about this. Yeah. I mean, if something comes to mind, feel free to share it in our in the chat section. But I know for me, I love writing and teaching, and obviously dancing and drumming, and being an artist and a performer is something that's really important to me. So the how would I behave if I were the best in the world at what I did? So I definitely, would want to be humble, yes, but I also would want to be able to show people that they can do it too. and that they can express themselves. And, you know, it's not about perfection. It's about putting all of your heart and soul and effort into something, believing in it and having faith that at the other end of putting all this blood, sweat, and tears and love into something that is your art, that there's going to be something good at the end. And, you know, for many people, the dream is wealth, fame, a book deal, you know, all these things. And I know I wanted them too. But beyond all of those material things, what else do you perceive yourself as, you know, post, you know, if you saw yourself in, you know, 5 years from now and 10 years from now, not, I mean, the now is very important, obviously, but if you saw yourself in the future as this being who was the best in the world at what you did, what would the world be like? How would you be making it a better place? How would people be reacting to your work? And, you know, I know a lot of people go through, Sean at Doublehead Music says, it's about sharing inspiration to love themselves. It's totally beautiful and true. And that, you know, these are the things that, yeah, money is good and it's useful, but, you know, money comes and goes, and money is not love. You know, there was a book called The Soul of Money, and I tried to read it, and I had the hardest time because, well, first of all, you know, money doesn't have a soul. Money is completely neutral. So money is a tool. It can be a gift too. It can be make life feel easier, but it doesn't make life easier, right? I think what makes life easier is loving and being loved. That's what makes life easier. And the only way we can really do that is to open our hearts and put ourselves out there, shining your light. So it's really coming from this heart center, and also this imaginal idea of stepping into that energy field of being and behaving as if you were the best in the world at what you do. And I'm not saying that it's not about being competitive. It's about shining and being your full unique self. So here's where I find that also entrepreneurs, they tend to make up excuses about not doing certain things. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying us, including me. I'm a huge procrastinator about certain things when it comes to marketing and getting stuff out there, because again, um, it takes courage to shine. And, you know, you're being seen, you're being witnessed, you're being held. Um, and it's an empowering and vulnerable place to be. It's both. So a lot of times what you'll hear people saying when they're not shining their light is, I'm not ready. I don't know how to do it. I don't have enough money to do it. I need more time. Um, I need to have a bigger newsletter list. I need to have this. I need to have that. The time to step in and shine is now. It's always in the now to be your full self. And the more you do this, the more you'll grow your newsletter list, the more Twitter followers you'll have, the more Facebook friends you'll have, the more, the money, the income can increase. All of these things can happen, but they won't begin until you begin, until you really step into this true self that you know you are. Let's see what else here. Okay, so I have some journal prompts, and we have about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to give you guys like a couple minutes to do each one. And the thing is, the idea is not to second guess what comes out of your brain. You just write it down and let it be and move forward with the next prompt. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys a minute to get a piece of paper and a pen if you need it. Or maybe you're on your computer, so you could just type it onto like a notepad or a Google Doc or something. This is an exploration from the book. It's on page 126 through 127. Okay, so the first question. What is keeping you from shining like the sun? Is it fear, feelings of uncertainty or doubt? Do you fear outshining others that you love and respect, which is super common? So the first journal prompt, what is keeping you from shining like the sun? Remember, just pen to paper. Don't stop, and don't second guess things, and don't edit yourself. So I'm going to give you guys about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Okay, so here's the next question, or the next prompt. Number 2, what are the healing roles of beauty and humor in your life? What are the healing roles of beauty and humor in your life? So like about 30 more seconds. Okay, the third prompt is to reflect on reflections. So how seeing your beauty reflected back to you makes you want to shine more. Who can play the role of the magic mirror in your life? Who are those people you can count on to see your greatness, your light, and your beauty, even in the midst of difficulties and darkness? Who will express and mirror your shine without resentment, jealousy, or reservation? So I want you to make a list of these people. And the reason for this is that you can go to this list and, reach out to people when you're feeling particularly scared or dark, or you need a sounding board or just extra support when you're doing something new, getting something new out into the world. I found this to be really helpful. So I'm going to repeat the prompt. So who sees you, like really sees your greatness, light, and beauty, even in the midst of difficulties and darkness? Who will express and mirror your shine without resentment, jealousy, or reservation? So these are the people who will play the role of the magic mirror in your life. I'll give you guys another minute. And if there's only one person on your list, that's great. We all need one person we could count on. And who can count on us? You could also become, shine your light buddies, right? To keep each other supported. So I hope y'all have enjoyed these 7 weeks of quick chats. I know I have. It's been really fun, and it was like the perfect amount of time to really just, skim into a topic and, get into it a little bit and to do a little workshopping around it. Again, here is my book, Return to Enchantment. Yay, it's so beautiful. And I just had my book release party this past weekend, and it was fantastic. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, and I'm sure some of the pictures will end up on Twitter and Instagram and a few other places where I venture out in the social media. So I'll be telling you all about how the party went, and you could see some pictures. And just so you know, I have an 8-week course starting November 7th, and this is the final week to sign up. And it's normally $300, but for this week, if you buy the print version of my book, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it from Paradise Found. They have some signed copies. Paradise Found is a New Age bookstore in Santa Barbara, and she can ship you a copy that's signed if you want. Or any of the booksellers. And all you need to do is buy the print version of the book and email me a receipt or whatever proof that you bought it. And you can email to Chris Oster, KRISOSTER @gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about the branding course, it's called Enchant Your Brand. It's on my website, but I'm also going to put the link right here. My website is mythicrhythm.com. So it's mythicrhythm.com. So it's right there in the chat box. So you can go ahead and click on that. And just thank you all for being here and playing with me. This has been so much fun. And I hope to see you in the class. So it starts November 7th. You get in for free if you buy the print book, and we're going to have live calls, and we're also going to have a private Facebook group where I give you feedback on your material. I'll probably be in there a few days a week, so it'll be really active, it'll be really dynamic and fun. So I hope to see you there. Thank you again. Bye.